Welcome to the Rockin Wellness Podcast, the show that takes you on a voyage to better health, wellness, and happiness that will rock your world. With me, Rachel Joy Olsen, your host, your coach, and your biggest fan. Hey there, and welcome back to the Rockin Wellness Podcast. I'm Rachel Joy Olsen, and I'm so glad that you're here today. Today, we're talking about something that sits right at the intersection of self-care, healing, and yoga. How to create a daily movement ritual that feels gentle, nourishing, and kind, not punishing. If you've ever used movement or exercise as a way to fix your body, earn your food, make up for what you ate, or push yourself past your limits just to feel good enough, like me, then this episode is for you. I have been there. I've done it all. My intention today is to help you reframe movement as an act of self-love and nervous system care, not self-criticism. We're going to talk about how to shift your mindset, how to build a realistic ritual, and I'll give you simple yoga-based practices that you can start using right away, even if you only have a few minutes. And if you're not a yoga fan, you can add a lot of this into your current routine to become more present and more self-love based. So if you've been craving a softer, more compassionate relationship with your body and your movement practice, take a big breath and let's dive in. I want to start by acknowledging something really important. If movement has felt punishing for you in the past, there's a reason. Maybe you, like me, grew up with messages like no pain, no gain. You have to earn your rest. Work out to burn off what you ate. That was a big one for me. Your worth is tied to your weight, your size, or your performance. That one is huge, I find, for the women that I work with, and has been something that's been ongoing even in my own personal journey. Our world and society is so focused on our physical being that it's often easy to tie our entire worth to our physical body and to our physical appearance. Now, maybe at some point, gyms or fitness spaces felt intimidating, judgmental, or focused only on appearance. Or perhaps you love those spaces and you've used movement to punish yourself in the past, pushing harder when you're exhausted, working out from a place of guilt, or ignoring pain because you feel like you should be stronger. If any of that rings true, I want you to hear this very clearly. You are not broken for feeling that way. You are not weak for struggling with motivation. You're likely just tired of using movement as a weapon against yourself. So in this episode, we're going to gently put down that weapon. We're going to explore a different way, movement as nourishment, not punishment. Movement as a way to come home to your body, not escape it. And yoga and present movement gives us a beautiful framework for that. So let's reframe movement together. Instead of asking, how many calories did I burn? Did I work hard enough? Do I deserve to rest? Try asking this. How does my body feel right now? What kind of movement would feel supportive? Can I move in a way that leaves me feeling more present, not more depleted? For many, many, many years, I worked super hard in the gym. Don't get me wrong, I still work out in the gym. But I did use a workout as punishment a lot of the times. If I overate, I worked out extra hard. If I felt bad about myself, I worked out extra hard. If my knee or my hips or my back were hurting, I just quietly told them to shut up and I kept pushing through. And sadly, the older I get, the more these issues are screaming a little louder. And so that's why over the last few years, I have now turned to yoga and other gentle forms of movement rather than the punishing workouts I did for decades. Because yoga invites us to see the body not as a problem to fix, but as a partner in our life. It's such a new way to look at our bodies. Movement now then becomes a way to release stress, to connect with your breath, to regulate your nervous system, and to offer kindness to places that feel tight, heavy, or ignored. When we shift the intention from change my body to care for my body, everything softens and begins to change and transform in a different way. You're allowed to want to feel stronger and more flexible, of course. You're allowed to have goals, as we should. But the tone of your movement can change from harsh and demanding to gentle and listening. So when we talk about a daily movement ritual, we're not talking about a strict workout plan here. We're talking about a small, steady practice of checking in, moving with intention, and using movement as an act of love. The first step in creating a gentle movement ritual is to begin with a check-in, not a checklist, but a check-in. Most of us jump straight into what should I do without ever asking, how am I really? So before you move, pause and ask, how does my body feel today? Is it heavy, buzzy, tight, restless, numb, tired, or maybe energized? How is my energy today? Is it low, medium, high? How is my nervous system right now? Do I feel calm, anxious, overwhelmed, or just flat? This doesn't have to take long. Even 30 seconds of honest noticing can shift everything. And once you do that, then ask, what kind of movement would feel supportive right now? For example, if you feel wired and anxious, you might choose a slow, grounding movement with longer exhales to calm that anxious feeling. If you feel sluggish but not exhausted, a gentle flow or gentle movement or a nice light walk might help you wake up. If you feel deeply drained, you might need some very small movements or even stillness with breathing focus as your ritual for the day. This check-in is your first act of self-love. You are saying to your body, I'm listening. I care how you feel. I won't force you into something that harms you. Now let's talk about designing a ritual that feels realistic and repeatable. We are not aiming for perfection here. We're aiming for something you can actually do most days without dread. Here's a simple framework to build your ritual. Number 1, pick a length or time that feels kind for you and realistic for you. For many people, 5 to 15 minutes is a beautiful starting point. Ask yourself honestly, what's the amount of time I could offer myself almost every single day without it feeling like pressure? If 5 minutes is where you're at, that's perfect. That counts. Number 2, choose a time anchor. Instead of sometime today, attach your ritual to something you already do. Maybe it's right after you wake up, before or after lunch, after work, or before bed. For example, you might say or commit to, after I put the kettle on in the morning, I do 10 minutes of gentle yoga. Or before I get into bed, I'm going to do 5 minutes of stretching and breathing. Then number 3, create a simple structure. Here's an example of a 10-minute gentle yoga ritual. So there's a 2-minute version. For 2 minutes, you're going to sit or lie down with your hand on your heart or belly and notice your breath. Then for 3 minutes, do some gentle neck and shoulder movements and some side body stretches just to warm up the body a little bit and connect the breath with the movement. Then spend the next 3 minutes doing some cat-cow movements or just gentle spinal twists like barrel rolls. And then for the last 2 minutes or longer, if you need to, sit in a forward fold or a child's pose with slow, long breath, specifically focusing on the long exhale. So that's it. Nothing fancy, just consistent, loving attention. Number 4, make it flexible by design. So let your ritual have a minimum version and a longer if I want to version. For example, minimum 5 minutes. Bonus, if I have time and energy, I can stay for 15 or 20 minutes. That way you're never failing. You're always succeeding by showing up for the minimum. Now let's talk about some specific yoga-based movements you can use in your ritual. Think of these as tools in your self-love toolkit. Number 1, grounding shapes. Grounding shapes are great when you feel anxious, scattered, or overwhelmed. One of the big ones would be child's pose. So kneeling, folding forward, arms forward or by your sides, just allowing the forehead to rest and breathing into your back. Another one would be just a simple constructive rest position, lying on your back, your knees bent, feet wide, potentially the knees resting towards each other with your hands on your belly or your heart. And when you choose one of these grounding poses, you take 5 to 10 slow breaths and let the ground hold you. Now, adding into those grounding poses, if you've been listening to me for a while or you know me in any way, you know that I can't get on my mat without an essential oil attached to it. Grounding oils, any of the tree oils are beautiful, like a vetiver, a cedarwood, Siberian fir, something like that is a really nice oil to pair with a grounding pose or grounding shape. Next ones would be gentle spine movements. So these are great if you feel stiff, stuck, or you've been sitting a lot. One of my favorites is the cat-cow. So you're on your hands and knees. You inhale to lift the heart and the tailbone, dropping the belly towards the floor. That's your cow. And then you exhale to round the spine into your cat. And as you move between the two, move really slowly and intentionally, connecting this movement to your breath. Another great spinal movement here is any twist, a seated twist, a reclined twist, anything that allows you to either sit or lie down comfortably, lengthening the spine, usually on an inhale, and then gently twist on the exhale. Just allow the knees to fall to the side or allow your shoulders to move towards the knee, whether you're sitting or lying down. And in these spinal movements, it's really important to move with curiosity, not force. Make sure you're taking care of your spine in these postures. Number 3, soft hip and leg stretches. These are great for releasing any stored tension and emotional buildup. Think about supine figure 4. This is where you're on your back, your ankle is over top of the opposite thigh, and you gently draw the legs in if that feels okay, or just keep the legs on the ground. You might also choose reclined butterfly, soles of the feet together, knees open, supported with pillows or blocks or bolsters if needed. You want to stay here for a minute or two, breathing slowly. Both of those postures are 2 of my favorites. Now, simple standing shapes are great when you want a bit more energy without pushing. Something like mountain pose. Mountain pose, a very strong pose. Standing with your feet hip distance apart or even toes together, heels slightly apart. And you feel your feet root down into your mat and deep into the earth. And at the same time, you lengthen up through the crown of your head, feeling your entire body standing tall and grounded. And breathe here in this posture and feel your strength. Gentle forward folds are nice. So from a standing position, hinge at the hips, soften your knees. Let the knees and the thighs just support your belly and your back, letting your head and your arms hang heavy, maybe a gentle sway from side to side. Now, whatever movement or shape you choose, let your movement be a conversation, not a command. If something doesn't feel right, simply adjust. That's self-love movement. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should never do a high-intensity workout. Sometimes it's exactly what we need. The difference is, what's the motivation behind the movement and what is your inner voice telling you to do? And in what way is that voice speaking to you? Now, a daily movement ritual becomes truly gentle when the way you speak to yourself changes. You can do the slowest, kindest yoga in the world, but if your inner critic is yelling at you the whole time, it won't feel nourishing. Especially, let's say you decide that you're going to punish yourself at the gym. So you push harder, you tell yourself that you're weak, you've got to be better than what you're doing. You know, if you're doing that, take a moment as you move and just start to notice your self-talk. You know, do you hear yourself pushing and saying in your mind, this isn't enough, you should be doing more. Your body isn't good enough, you're so out of shape. Do you hear those things in your mind as you push, whether it's on or off your mat? And anytime you notice that, regardless of whatever style of workout or movement you're doing, just pause for a moment. Place a hand on your heart or your body and try a different sentence. Maybe you say, this is enough for today. My body deserves kindness, not criticism. I'm learning to move with love. Thank you, body, for everything you carry. Now just know you don't have to believe these things 100% right away. You're just planting seeds. And over time, your movement ritual becomes a place where you practice a new inner language, one rooted in respect and care. And we should have just as much respect and care as we have for our loved ones. Years and years ago, I learned to start to look at my inner self-talk, and I believe this is an ongoing practice. But would you speak to a young niece or nephew or a young child in the way that you speak to yourself? I'm going to guess your answer was the same as mine was when I first learned about this exercise, and it was a resounding no. I couldn't even imagine speaking to a child in the way that I have spoken to myself. So this is such a great way to think about this, is that just root everything you do, your movement on and off the mat, in respect and care. Now, when we say daily movement ritual, sometimes it can trigger perfectionism. So I want you to refine daily for you. Daily does not mean never missing. Daily means this is part of the rhythm of my life, something I return to often. There will be days that you miss, days that you're sick, you're traveling, you're overwhelmed, or just simply human. And when that happens, instead of saying, ugh, I blew it, try, I'm allowed to rest. It's okay to pause. I can come back. My ritual is here for me when I am ready. Gentle movement is not another standard to fail at. It's a way of caring for yourself that you can always return to. The win is not, I never miss a day. The win is, I keep coming back in kinder and kinder ways. Let me now give you a simple template you can literally use today. Your gentle daily movement ritual might look like this. The first 1 to 2 minutes, you check in. You ask, how do I feel physically, emotionally, and energetically? Then decide, do I need grounding, stretching, or a little activation? Then the next 2 minutes, you're going to breathe and arrive, become present. So you'll sit or lie down, one hand on the heart or belly or both, and take 5 to 10 slow breaths, exhaling longer than you inhale. Now it's time for movement. Choose 3 to 5 shapes that feel good for you today, such as cat-cow, seated side stretch, reclined or seated twist, child's pose, gentle forward fold, and move slowly with as much kindness as you can. Then on that final minute, close with gratitude. Place your hands on your body and say, thank you, body, for moving with me today. This was enough. That's it. That's a daily movement ritual rooted in self-love that you can add to any day before and or after a workout to stay present and rooted in self-love. So as we wrap up today, I want you to remember, movement does not have to be extreme to be effective. It does not have to be punishing to be meaningful. It does not have to be perfect to be healing. Your body deserves movement that feels like care, not punishment. Your nervous system deserves movements of gentle regulation. You deserve to feel at home in your body, not at war with it. If all you do after this episode is pause for a moment, take 3 slow breaths, roll your shoulders and whisper, thank you, to your body, that counts. That's a beginning. That is something that we are not usually trained to do. And I know this might feel strange for many of you listening. It might be new for many of you. But once you start adding this in, you will notice a shift and you will feel fantastic for it. So let's finish here. I just want to thank you so much for being here with me today and for being willing to explore a kinder way of moving. Like I said, it can be uncomfortable, but over time you'll embrace it and it'll be exactly what you've been missing. Now, if this conversation today has you curious about trying yoga, I'd love to support you in a gentle, low-pressure way. You can start by exploring the free classes available on my website at R.J.O.wellness.com and get a feel for my style, your preferences, and what your body enjoys. And when you're ready for deeper, ongoing support, you are warmly invited to check out my membership options, where you'll find regular classes, live sessions, and a supportive space to help you weave yoga and other movement and other mindfulness tools into your everyday life. Now, as always, I am cheering you on as you create a daily movement ritual that truly feels like love. So until next time, my friends, keep rocking your wellness. Thanks for joining me on this episode of the Rockin Wellness Podcast. Make sure to visit my website at www.rjowellness.com, where you can subscribe to the show and check out all the show notes. While you're at it, if you found value in this podcast, if you'd simply tell a friend about it, that would help out too. You may choose to join the R.J.O. Wellness community to take advantage of the freebies, courses, and coaching that will take your voyage to the next level, or support this podcast with your monthly membership. Until next time, my friends, keep rocking your wellness.